For today's headlines, Rody Vice President Run Rock-ribbed. According to Department of Health, do not yet vaccinate booster shots this time. Department of Education reaches 8.5 million enrollees as enhanced remote enrollment adopted for school year 2021 to 2022. Health workers get delayed special risk allowance. Department of Labor and Employment reminds employers observe holiday pay rules. 11th year of the Outstanding Filipinos in America Awards happening on October. In Daily Tribune's Chronicles, National Grid Corporation of the Philippines incentivizing Disservice. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Today is August 26, 2021, and here are the latest news of this Thursday morning. For the ruling, PDP Laban President Rodrigo Duterte's acceptance of his nomination for the vice presidency is enough to validate the party endorsement of a Bongo Duterte tandem for the May 9, 2022 elections. Lawyer Melvin Matibag, the PDP Laban Secretary General, on Wednesday cautioned the public from speculating on the supposed edited-out portion in the president's speech aired Tuesday night, where he was supposed to have said that he and Go will not run if his daughter Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio will decide to seek the presidency. Matibag claimed to have not seen nor heard the content of that supposed part of the speech that was deleted from President Duterte's talk to the nation this Tuesday. He also clarified that the party has no conflict with Davao City Mayor, whose victory as local government leader was spurred by her membership to PDP Laban. The younger Duterte, however, is leading her own regional party, the Hukbong ng Pagbabago, that is said to have coalesced with 5 major national parties that will reportedly help launch her presidential bid, which she denies entertaining at this point. What's clear, Matibag said, is that the president had said, "Go with the announcement," green-lighting the official release of his statement. During his guesting in Daily Tribune's morning program Gising Na, Matibag said the president's acceptance of his nomination should make Go change his mind and be convinced of running for presidency. The Department of Health on Wednesday reaffirmed its stance against inoculating third shots or booster shots amid the United States' plan to jab its citizens with additional shots. DOH Disease Prevention and Control Bureau Director Dr. Razel Nika How said in a webinar organized by the Philippine Heart Association said that all experts group has recommended against booster shots. They said it is not yet the time to vaccinate booster shots. How said the decision was attributed to 3 major factors such as efficacy, global solidarity, and local equity. She also said that based on initial studies on booster shots, it is most likely should be given a year after the completion of required doses. The health official also said the department is against booster shots due to both globally and locally equity issues. Likewise, the DOH has also recommended against the vaccination of the pediatric population against COVID-19 at this time. Howe said it is also due to equity reasons, as vaccination of the pediatric population may disenfranchise the supply of vaccine to other eligible and more vulnerable groups, such as senior citizens and persons with comorbidities. She added that mortality and morbidity data across age groups do not support urgency to prioritize vaccination of the pediatric population at this time. She also noted that the children can be protected through cocoon strategy. The cocoon effect refers to the phenomenon where the unvaccinated individuals will be protected by the vaccinated individuals that surround them. The statement came a day after Food and Drug Administration Director General Eric Domingo announced that Moderna has applied for emergency use authorization to use its COVID-19 for children aged 12 years and above. The Department of Education on Wednesday reached more than 8.5 million enrollees for school year 2021 to 2022. As of August 25, 2021, the total number of enrollees for basic formal education all over the country hits 8,557,205, covering both public and private schools. Enrollment started last August 16 and will run until the opening of classes on September 13. Data from the Learner Information System Quick Count showed that the highest numbers of enrollees for the coming school year are from Region 4A, Calabarzon, with 1,430,535, followed by Region 3, Central Luzon, with 829,624, and National Capital Region with 815,857. Education Secretary Leonor Magtolis-Briones said that as they continuously prepare for a smooth opening of classes, they are urging parents and learners to communicate with their respective schools for the enrollment procedures. She also called those who did not enroll last school year to register now. Secretary Briones also noted that there is a considerable lag in reporting of enrollment data since some schools collate first the enrollment forms, particularly those through Dropbox, before reporting. In Deped Order 032, Series of 2021, the department provided a range of options to facilitate the enrollment of learners in all public schools in basic education and alternative learning system programs nationwide. Meanwhile, Deped has also deferred the submission of documentary requirements for public and private schools to December 31, 2021. As such, schools shall not compel learners and their parents or guardians to take responsibility for the transmission of school records. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Magandang araw mga katribu! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelevelo, Comfy Manalo, Chinky Mangkukang, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Chirk Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas ng mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Sama-sama natin alamin ang mga natatagong istorya sa mga latest na kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Simulan ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments dito sa ating programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga at magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
We are back on Tribune News on Q. In other news, the Department of Budget and Management on Wednesday released over 300 million pesos to cover the budget allocation needed to pay the long overdue special risk allowance of healthcare workers in the country. During the continuation of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee's investigation on the Department of Health's alleged mishandling of the government's 67.32 billion pesos COVID-19 response fund, DBM Officer in Charge Tina Rose Kanda confirmed the release of Special Allotment Release Order amounting to 311.79 million pesos. The fund will provide special benefits to at least 20,000 medical frontliners from both private and public hospitals. The delayed distribution, along with decreasing morale of healthcare workers, prompted them to warn of mass resignation if the neglect continues. In response to their growing calls, President Rodrigo Duterte has given the DBM and DOH 10 days to release the funds. Health Secretary Francisco Duque, who is under fire again over the deficiencies in the budget spending of DOH, assured senators that his department will start downloading the funds given by DBM to hospitals. The Department of Labor and Employment issued a labor advisory reminding employers to strictly observe holiday pay rules for August 2021. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III issued Labor Advisory 15 Series of 2021, laying down following rules for paying wages for special non-working holidays and regular holidays. Employees who work during the special holidays shall be paid an additional 30% of the employee's basic wage on the first 8 hours of work. If the employees render overtime work, they are entitled to be paid an additional 30% of the employee's hourly rate on said day. If the employee rendered work during a special day that also fall on their rest day, The employee is entitled to an additional 50% of the employee's basic wage on the first 8 hours of work. If the employee rendered work during a regular holiday that also falls on the employee's rest day, the employee is entitled to an additional 30% of the employee's basic wage on the first 8 hours of work. If they render overtime during a special day that falls on rest day, they are entitled to an additional 30% of the employee's hourly rate on the said day. Establishment who has closed or ceased operation during the quarantine period due to COVID-19 are exempted from paying holiday pay on August 30 under the advisory. The Outstanding Filipinos in America, or Tofa, recognizes and celebrates Filipinos' achievements whether they are American citizens or not. It started out in 2011 as the Outstanding Filipino Americans, but the founder and executive producer Elton Lugay and his team awarded Filipinos who weren't American citizens at that time. That's why in 2016 they officially changed it to the Outstanding Filipinos in America. It doesn't matter what your citizenship is, any Filipino representing and raising the Filipino community in the U.S. with outstanding accomplishments already qualifies them for the award. Tofa was established through Elton Lugay's own initiative but made reality with his team. At first, Elton wanted to promote original Filipino music, or OPM, in America, and they also thought of celebrating the month of October for Filipino-American history, but eventually they decided they wanted an awards event for Filipino achievers. They have various categories such as education, entertainment, sports, youth, LGBT, and women empowerment, to name a few, and it doesn't take much to be qualified. Raising the Filipino community in America and having a good morale can make you a nominee. In Daily Tribune segment Perfect, Elton Lugay shared how heartwarming the event can be for all of them, the Tofa team included. For them, it is an honor to be a platform of exposure for the awardees and how they give inspiration to the Filipino community by showing them how outstanding our people can be. Tofa also serves as a source of learning for Filipinos in America who grew up not knowing what their culture is because their parents are too busy making a living to teach them. Lugay said that Tofa is like a homecoming and reconnecting of the Filipino roots, community, and culture. For Filipinos who haven't come home to the Philippines for a long time, and for the Filipinos who are born and raised in America that have never set foot in our country, attending Tofa makes them feel like they've come home to the Philippines. The 11th Annual Tofa Awards, or the Outstanding Filipinos in America Awards, is slated on Thursday, the 7th of October 2021 at the Wild Recital Hall of the famous Carnegie Hall in New York City. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
It's time for the world to know. Outstanding Filipinos in America. The 11th Outstanding Filipinos in America Awards 2021. A salute to the heroes of coronavirus. Coming back live in person at the Carnegie Hall in New York City, home of the Tofa Awards since 2011.
Viber is the free and secure way to connect with friends and family, anywhere. Send messages and make phone and video calls for free. Download Viber now.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. In this pandemic, people had to adapt more to the digital lifestyle, but the power demand has increased. Can we rely on the power supply? Watch the Daily Tribune's Chronicles, National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, Incentivizing Disservice. In this time when people are restricted to go outside of their home and tend to even work in the comfort of our own shelter, we are pushing the power demand at its peak. How can people be assured that we have safe and reliable electricity supply? Let's find out as Daily Tribune's Chronicle presents National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, The Monster Within. It was the rotational brownouts that happened in Luzon last May and June that prompted the Energy Department and lawmakers at the Senate to launch an investigation against the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines for its apparent shortcomings in its obligation to provide sufficient levels of ancillary services or power reserves. These AS could be tapped in case of an unforeseen power plant shutdown, and running transmission lines at full capacity is not enough to prevent unannounced rotational brownouts. Based on the Grid Code of the Philippines, the NGCP, as the sole transmission operator in the country, shall be responsible for determining, acquiring, and dispatching the capacity needed to supply the required grid ancillary services to ensure that there will be no brownout, especially on occurrences of power plant outages. Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi said it was in 2016 when he discovered that NGCP has no power reserves because it has not contracted any ancillary service, meaning the Luzon grid is susceptible to power outages when supply is lower than the power demand. Cusi then issued a department circular mandating the NGCP as the system operator to procure ancillary services through firm contracts. But the NGCP, with the monopoly of the country's power grid, refused to comply with its contracting requirement as if flaunting its absolute monopoly and the seemingly favorable environment with the Energy Regulatory Commission, the energy watchdog supposed to regulate its operations. Proof of this is the expose bared by National Association of Electricity Consumers for Reforms Incorporated, National President Pete Ilagan alleging possible collusion between the ERC and NGCP. According to Ilagan, despite the DOE's circular, the NGCP and the Pagbilao Energy Corporation have still applied to a non-firm ancillary service last October 2020. Bowing to intense pressure from the DOE and the Senate investigation, the NGCP finally caves in, told regulators, and promised to follow its mandate to contract firm ancillary service power reserves. However, NGCP spokesperson Cynthia Alabanza warned that entering into firm contracts with backup power providers may result in a hike in power rates by 0.64 peso per kilowatt-hour in Luzon, 0.54 peso per kilowatt-hour in the Visayas, and 1.39 pesos per kilowatt-hour in Mindanao. This was quickly countered by Cusi, who pointed out NGCP's non-compliance with its AC obligations raised electricity rates to more than double. Figures are from an estimated 3 pesos per kilowatt-hour to 7 pesos per kilowatt-hour, he said. In addition, the NGCP is charging customers about 0.34 centavos per kilowatt-hour for the non-existing firm contracts with the AS, in contrast to a mere 0.30 pesos if there are actually AS that provide extra energy supply to avert outages. Other NGCP violations that have a profound negative impact on electricity consumers are the delays in power projects. The DOE showed that 71.05% or 27 of 38 projects with committed commercial operation dates are delayed. These projects could generate an additional 2,045 megawatts of power to the grid. As of June, there are 27 power plants with pending permits per agency, while another 16 power plants are still awaiting approval from various agencies. There are also incomplete transmission projects that prevent the power supply from other parts of the country from being delivered to areas with lower supplies. There is stranded power in Mindanao, Negros, and Zambales that accumulate and remain unused because of the congested or uncompleted transmission lines or projects. The energy chief insisted that NGCP plays a crucial role in ensuring that power reserves reach areas with offline power plants. And suppose the NGCP cannot comply with its mandates as a grid operator. In that case, through the National Transmission Corporation, the government should take over the system operations of the grid. As cliché as it may sound, every question has an answer, but still the country is left asking truths in every story there is. My name is Venice Bautista, and this has been Chronicles by Daily Tribune. wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we would like to thank the SM Store, the Department of Tourism, Araneta Center, MG Motors, Hida Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista, and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website tribune.net.ph and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. The Daily Tribune is one with the nation in facing the COVID-19 crisis, and in line with this, the Daily Tribune digital edition on Press Reader is now available for free online. You can also download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS users and Google Play for Android users to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune is also inviting everyone to join its Community Viber Katribu to get updates on the freshest and hottest news and entertainment stories of the day. Tarcito emoticons are also available on our Community Viber. Just click on the link in this video to join.